All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So yeah, this is a comparison that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, and I'm pretty excited that I actually have both of these side by side here as I polish them up for you. This is the iPhone 13, and this is the brand new Pixel 6a. So you know, one would say, oh, why are you comparing that? You need to do it to 14. Okay, so the 14 is already out. It's right here. It's gonna it's gonna look exactly the same with just one digit up on the processor, i.e. of like if we're on the A16, it's just gonna go to the A17. Point is, Apple's probably gonna have the same information right here for the 14. So this is a tried and true and loved device by a lot of people. So this brand new 6a is the challenger. So what can it do, or what is it do better than the iPhone 13? I don't know. Let's get into it. So a lot of times when a new device drops out, specific OEMs get hit pretty hard, and people instantly agree with what everybody's saying about the device, but I don't do that. I just check it out for myself, then present it to you. So the facts about this is this comparison is this. These are two devices that are very capable and powerful smartphones. But let's start with the obvious, the price. This starts at $800, $799. And this is $449, period. There's no other options. You just get the one option for this one, and you get a couple of different storage options for this one. You can go up to 512 gigs. This, in fact, is a 512 gig. So my device technically costs, what did this cost? Let me what's it? I get a discount, but the actual price is $1,100. So even at the lowest cost of this device, it's still $800. This one costs $1,100 because it's a 512. This is $449. So obviously the clear winner here for price is the Pixel. So when we talk about software and performance, here's where a lot of people say Android really fails and just doesn't compete with Apple. And I'm not going to say Android fails and doesn't compete with Apple when it comes to software. I'm going to say everybody has a preference, and that preference could be that you prefer certain features that are on iOS that are not on Android, and vice versa. There are features that are on Android that are not on iOS. That's just how it works. So they're powered off here. I charge them both to 100, and I'm going to power them on. This is just to check and see, you know, which one's going to power on the fastest. Now the Pixel runs on Android. So I anticipate that the Apple iPhone will start. Okay, I retract that already. The Pixel started really fast, and I said that I was gonna say that it would start slower than the iPhone because most of the time when I'm powering up the Pixel, it's powered up kind of slow. So my bad, the Pixel started up much faster, but that doesn't mean anything. Let me unlock this here. Okay, so both unlocked. Now the purposes of shooting, I've turned on airplane mode because I don't want a bunch of notifications coming in. So price obviously is going to be the winner for the Pixel 6a, but as far as software goes, you get a bunch of different options here on both when it comes to what you would consider to be a powerful processing system for you. Everybody talks about iMessenger and how iMessenger is the best. But I think RCS is the same. You can actually send full-fledged videos through RCS just like you can on iMessage, and it looks full resolution just like that. The big argument about iMessage and RCS is that, you know, Apple should comply so everyone can talk to each other just because of some bubbles or something like that. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think Apple should keep it separated, and I think Google should keep theirs separated and just work on what you have, because RCS is really good. So you have iMessenger, and then you have FaceTime, and then you have Duo and RCS, and Duo is actually much better than FaceTime in my experience. But again, it comes to personal preference. If you have Duo, you can actually load that to an iPhone, and you can talk to anybody if they don't have an Android phone, and vice versa with Apple. If you don't have iMessenger, you can now create a link, and then anyone can get on FaceTime. So, you know, Apple has, you know, done some things to help, you know, get people to be interested in FaceTime, I would say. But the quality is just going to be on your network and things like that when it comes to what's happening inside of FaceTime or Duo. And with Duo, there's a whole bunch of different options. Just like with FaceTime, there's options to do certain things, but Duo, it does a little bit more when it comes to video chatting. Now, the downside of that is that it's not a default app, so to speak. Anyone, like I just said, you can put Duo on iOS, and you can put Duo, you don't have to use Duo. So Android has more options, but I think it hurts it in that sense when it comes to the video chatting. Even though Duo is the better one of the two, to me, it's it's just not ready for prime time because Google isn't pushing it as a narrative that it's primary and it's out front and it's not talked about as much. And that's something in the software that I think you guys would agree on, that Google has brought us a lot of different things to the market, but then they've closed out nearly all of them because people didn't use them, or people just didn't know about them, or people didn't talk about them. So software wise, it's going to come down to preference. This isn't an iOS versus Android. This is pretty much just an iPhone versus a Pixel. And that's kind of a wash to me. So surprisingly where Apple does still kind of beat it out a little bit is, I haven't had the Pixel 6a that long, but the iPhone 13 I've had it for quite some time, and the battery life on the iPhone 13 is really, really good. It's solid for such a small battery inside of there. And once this device learns a little bit more, I think the battery is going to match it. So right now I can't really talk too much about battery because I know battery is something that most people, it should be at the top of your list. The battery should be at the top of your list when you're looking at a smartphone, but if it's not, something's wrong. Maybe cameras is there. So performance with software and things like that and battery, those are all going to be on the user. Whatever apps you have on the device, that's what it's going to be. So some things that are different are hardware. So the Challenger here, this is Google's latest design here when it comes to their smartphones. And they've taken the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro and they've shrunk them down into a 6.1 inch body with the screen here. It's a fairly small phone, as you can see, because the iPhone 13 is a small phone, but the Pixel is just a little bit taller when it comes to the overall footprint. Now these both have 6.1 inch displays, but obviously the Pixel is a more squared off design, while the iPhone is obviously rounded on the corners and things like that. So with that, you get a little bit higher resolution on the iPhone 13, coming in at 460 and opposed to the 430 that's on the Pixel, but you really wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now hardware wise, in full disclosure, to me the Pixel 6a looks a heck of a lot better. It's a nicer design. Again, we know that the iPhone 14 is going to look like this. They're not going to change much on it. They're going to take out the notch area on the top up there, but they're not going to probably do anything else with it. So on the Pixel, you do have these flat matte sides. You got the running bar across here with ultra wide camera and a regular wide camera, LED flash. They've taken the bar on here and they've shrunk it down a whole bunch, so it's pretty much almost flush with the device, which is really nice. And then you don't have a headphone jack on either one of these devices, but you do have a pretty beautiful design with it. So now the iPhone is, again, it's the iPhone. We've seen this multiple times, and again, it too has the flat sides on it, which is really nice. You get a flat back and a flat front on here, but you get the more of a curved back on the Pixel 6a, but you do get a flat screen. They both have flat screens. So as far as the cameras on the back, the way they look, obviously, again, I think I like the Pixel 6a's overall footprint and hardware a lot better. Now what I do like about the iPhone is the rounded corners. I really wish they would have made this, but again, this is the signature look for Google's direction for what these new devices. It's rounded, but it's square. So the Apple iPhones have a much more rounded corners on there, and these are just square. So you can get that 20 by 9 opposed to the 19 by 5 by 9. And so that's why you're getting a little bit more in your resolution as well. So, Apple crammed in 1170 by 2532. That's the real reason that you're getting a higher resolution, but you've got 1080 by 2400 over here on the Pixel. But being 19 by 5 by 9 does help a little bit. So again, hardware for me, that's going to go to the Pixel. I think the Pixel looks better. And this is their newer direction. I'm still waiting for Apple to do something new, and they just haven't yet. Now, while this is a beautiful device, I got to give it up. This is a lot more to my liking. Now, you can't get this in different colors, obviously, but you can only get this in 3 colors. The Pixel 6a comes in 3 different colors. This comes in 6 colors, I believe. So you do have more options on the colors, but the overall design of the device, I still like the Pixel 6a a little bit better. So when it comes to features and options, this is where Android always does a little bit more. You can do a little bit more. I won't go too deep into that, but Apple doesn't. They have features and options, but most people complain about it not having real multitasking, like something as simple as picture-in-picture. Now I'm hearing this is available. I do have it on my iPad, but on the iPhone, I just don't swipe up. I'm so used to it, just going away when I do use it. So with that, you know, there's not much more to consider a winner. Now these have 60 hertz displays. This was a big thing that everybody's talking about now on the displays. Everybody's talking about the fact that Google brought out a 60 hertz display. Everyone's talking about how Google brought out a 60 hertz display in 2022, but in fact Apple, this is a 60 hertz display too. This isn't 120 hertz last I checked, or 90 hertz or anything. These are both 60 hertz displays, and it's just going to come down to which one you think makes viewing content, or, you know, when you're looking at content, is better, I should say, and it's going to be to your eyes. One thing that you cannot dispute is the camera quality. Now when it comes to video, I definitely like the iPhone 13 for video. I think it's really nice when it comes to shooting video, but also the Pixel has beautiful video too, so it's not like it's getting overshadowed by the quality. But where the Apple does win is that it has 4K on the front and the rear, and then you also can pretty much just have unlimited recording. Well, with the Pixel, it's going to cut off at some point, and I think that's just based on Android itself. There are some phones out there that are Android that can go for a long time, but not like an Apple device where the memory just runs out. I very seldom have any kind of heating issues with an iPhone. It has shut off before. My 13 Pro Max, which I'm recording with right now, has cut off before and has some crashes, but not so much with the camera. It's just a software, you know, it just decided to shut itself off. But when it comes to cameras, I think the winner isn't as clear anymore, because the Pixel 6a has great video cameras as well, but when it comes to photos, the Pixel 6 crushes. So this story of the iPhone versus the Pixels, or iPhone versus whatever, I think it's going to always turn out the same, because the iPhones to me do fantastic with photos, but when you put it next to another device that actually takes really solid looking photos, then you see the differences there. So who you got? You got the Pixel, you got the iPhone. Which one are you liking? I personally would go with the Pixel 6a. The price is better. The design is better. The cameras in a lot of ways are better. The functions and features of Android, I can do a little bit more. And the performance, while it doesn't have these high-powered numbers on paper, the Tensor chip is no joke, and it's actually a really good chip. So at least this iteration around, I'm having no problems with the Tensor chip in the 6a like I did in the 6 and the 6 Pro. But you know, screen quality, coming in with this conversation about it having a having a 60 hertz display, to me is silly. I just think it's crazy. This is way overpriced for what it's. I mean, think about it, this one costs $1,100 and this one costs $450. Even at the lowest cost of $800, you still don't get. It's just going to be the same. It's just $800 versus $450. So when you look at comparing these two, I like to compare these because I think they're competing against each other. This is a high power chip from Google. This is a high power chip from Apple. They both have 6.1 inch displays. They both have really good cameras. They both have really good battery. Performance is solid. It's just going to come down to your personal preference. Me, I'm going with the 6A.